in National 5, we sometimes need to use two techniques to help us answer questions. So today we're going to look at gradient questions that also involve Pythagoras. So we already know that the gradient can be found by doing the vertical length over the horizontal length, and we also know that Pythagoras' theorem is c squared equals a squared plus b squared, or a squared equals c squared, take away b squared, if you're trying to find a shorter side of a triangle. Now both of these formulas are used on right angle triangles only. We're going to have a look at doing an example. So we've got Mr. Smith has a wheelchair ramp built onto his house. It has a sloping side of 9.5 metres and a height of 1.2 metres, and we've been asked to work out how far out it comes from the house. So imagine that the house is here. We are trying to work out the horizontal distance. So this part of the question is using Pythagoras, and we're trying to find the shorter side because that's your right angle, which means that's the hypotenuse, which is the longest side. So we're using a squared equals c squared take away b squared. You can label the triangle A, C and B. A is what we're trying to find, C is the longest side and B is the other one. Put the numbers in on the next line. So we've got 9.5 squared take away 1.2 squared, and you can type that straight into the calculator and you get 8 to 8.81. Then at this point we need to square root both sides, and we end up with a long number, 9.423. It keeps going, so I'm going to round it to one decimal place on the next line. So it's 9.4 meters. So that means that the horizontal distance is 9.4 meters. Now the second part of this question says a ramp with a gradient less than 0.15 is safe. Is Mr. Smith's ramp safe? So for this part of the question we need to work out the gradient of the slope using the gradient formula. So vertical over horizontal. Our vertical is 1.2 and our horizontal is 9.4. So 1.2 over 9.4. Now because the question has given the gradient in a decimal, that means we need to convert our fraction into a decimal. So we're just going to do the top number divided by the bottom number. So 1.2 divided by 9.4. And you should get 0.127, and it keeps going. So I'm just going to round that on the next line to 2 decimal places, since it was 2 decimal places in the question. So 0.13. Now we've been asked, is Mr. Smith's ramp safe? And it says if the gradient is less than 0.15, it's safe. Our gradient is less than 0.15, so it is safe. So you would write a sentence explaining why it's safe. So the ramp is safe since 0.13 is less than 0.15.